Hello, good morning. My name is Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. Welcome to another edition of the Wisdom Card series. Today is March 18th, 2021, and today I'm going to read from the deck of cards based on the book, The Fifth Agreement, written by Don Miguel Ruiz and Don Jose Ruiz, published by Amber Allen Publishing and Hay House Publishing. Today's card reads like this. Self-mastery begins with self-awareness. With awareness, I know that I can change my virtual world by changing what I believe. What is real, I cannot change, and it doesn't matter what I believe. The mastery of self is the moment you accept yourself just the way you are. When you no longer pretend to be something you're not, for the sake of someone else's point of view or prejudice or ideas or projected domestication. It is the moment I accept myself. And with that awareness, I see who I am. And I admit, and I'm honest with myself. For example, I let go of the image of Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. and I see Miguel Ruiz Jr., a name for this living being. I do take things personal. I do make assumptions. Sometimes I'm not impeccable with the word. Sometimes I'm not skeptical at all by a hook, line, and sinker. And sometimes I don't do my best. Just ask my wife. She is my witness. It is a moment where I stop pretending to be something I am not. That image by which I've been domesticating myself. And in my case, that image of Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. by which I'm tempted to domesticate myself if I want to live up to that image. Self-projected or projection from someone else. That is the beginning step of awareness. This is who I am. But in order to make change, we begin by, not just applying this awareness, but by looking. For example, I take things personal. I accept it. It is the truth. I'm no longer pretending to be a man who doesn't take things personally. Once I accept that truth, I read the book and I begin to understand what that means. To me, it simply means that I am responsible to the tips of my fingers, and I do not assume responsibility for someone else's will and perception. I am responsible for myself. To me, that's what not taking things personal is. That image of Siddhartha turning arrows into roses, not giving them permission to hurt him. Then, with that next step, I begin to see myself and see what triggers me to take things personal. What triggers me to take things personal? Just like what triggers me to not be impeccable with my word? What triggers me to domesticate myself, to judge others, to get into an argument? So all those things, what are my triggers? That discipline of being honest with myself and seeing myself. And once I get to know myself, I know how to apply it. As I begin to see that trigger coming, I have a choice to give in to the temptation of that trigger or to change the direction. For example, I become aware of what triggers my taking things personal. Besides my father wearing pajamas at a restaurant, someone posting on social media something that makes me go grr. Well, if I take things personal, it's because I want to take it personal, and I'm free to say yes to that. I've accepted that truth. If I want to take it personal, I'm completely free to say yes to it. But I read the book, I understand the concept, and I know my triggers, and I know I'm free to not take things personal. I'm free to say yes to not taking it personal and yes to not taking it personal. That is my free will. And with that awareness, when I say, I am not going to take it personal, it's because I'm aware that I don't want to experience the consequences of the hangover that comes from taking things personal. I don't want that experience. It becomes a choice. The word agreement reflects the action of saying yes to something, as opposed to the condition that subjugates me. At that moment, I'm using the 4 agreements as an instrument of domestication known to me as the 4 conditions. So what am I domesticating myself with? Like I said before, the truth exists whether you believe in it or not. That's a quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson. The truth doesn't need me for it to exist. It exists. I believe only exists for as long as I say yes to it, meaning it only exists while I believe it. And because of that, we fight and argue. And that's my trigger. The truth doesn't need me, but a belief does, because it only exists until I say yes to it, until I say no to it. So, with that in mind, awareness is knowing that I have a choice. And when I have that awareness, I can revolutionize my world and let it go of everything by which I domesticate myself, which leads me to domesticate other people around me. And that's how I change my virtual world, the world in here, as I let go of domesticated ideas that doesn't let me see myself for who I am. And I begin to accept myself just the way I am.